Benjamin, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Carl. It's a good day so far. I've been pretty good, right, nice and relaxed. We're on tour currently with Lord of the Lost, and we've had a few days off now, so that was a bit good to come down and relax. So yeah.
Yeah, how's the tour been so far? Any particular shows that stood out so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. I mean, we've known Lord of the Lost for quite a while now, and we've been on tour for them with them twice already, and it's always been a blast. Now we've also got the German band Nachtblut as a second support band, and it's just a good fun with all of them. They're all friendly, all kind. And unfortunately, we had a bit of a problem the second and third weekends. Scarlett and I both went ill and had to stay at home, so that was quite a nuisance. But otherwise, it's been really good. Shows which have stood out. Good question. They all have, actually. It's been so fantastic being back on stage, and just, yeah, I don't know. It's been so long, so it's just really good being back and playing shows again.
Has it taken a little while to kind of get yourself acclimatized back to the sort of stringent world of lengthy touring?
To be honest, yes, it has. I mean, the last shows we played were in the beginning of 2020, so it's really been quite a while. And you do get used to it. Well, when I say you get back into the mood, but it took a few shows to get into the right mindset again. So yeah.
Yeah, we tend to think of it almost like needing to be match fit, the rigmarole of having to do it every night.
Yeah, exactly.
When you say you guys were when you got sick, it wasn't the dreaded C, was it?
It was. It wasn't too bad, but it was. Yes, it was the C. Yes. Not quite sure where we caught it, because all the other guys didn't catch it, because we were all traveling in one bus. So it was, obviously our fear was that everyone's going to go ill now, but luckily it was, well, when I say luckily, it was only just us two, not the others. But yeah, it took a couple of days to get really back on track, and then you've got to wait until the tests are negative again and all that nonsense, and so it took a while. But yeah, we're back on track and everything's fine again, so that's what counts.
Good. I mean, that's the most important thing, that you can get over it that quickly and come out of it and still feel okay. So that's the most important thing. It's good to hear that. What about upcoming or the rest of the tour? Is there any particular show or date that you're looking particularly forward to? Maybe it's something you've never been before.
Well, actually, yes, we're leaving this evening now for the next leg, which will be 12 days and 10 shows, so it's going to be quite a ride. And we're traveling to France, to Spain, to Italy, so it's going to be a real long ride through Europe, and just all those countries where we haven't been before, because we've only normally played in, what was it, Germany. We've had a show in what was it, not Austria, Swiss, I believe. Anyway, we haven't been to the more distant Europe countries like Spain and Italy, France. So those are going to be really good. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to those.
A nice way to spend the first half of November.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's going to be rainy and cold and wet here, and so we may enjoy a bit of sunshine. So that's quite nice and something to look forward to.
Absolutely. Overall, then, how's everybody doing in the Scarlet Dorn camp? Are you all feeling in quite a good place following the release of Queen of Broken Dreams?
Yes, definitely. I mean, since COVID was such a nuisance for us, and we had to release our second album, Blood Red Bouquet, kind of into nothing, because we couldn't tour with it, we couldn't really do a lot with it. That was really sad. And so having our new album out now and being able to tour with it, being able to play the songs, it's really good, and we're very happy at how the people are reacting and how they're enjoying the songs. And yes, that's really good.
That whole releasing the album into the nether, as it were, how are you guys balancing out? Are you trying to still give that as much of a showcase in a live environment as you possibly can, even when you've got this new album to tour as well?
A little bit. Obviously, we're trying to keep the focus on Queen of Broken Dreams as it's the current one, but we've got a couple of songs from the second one in the set list as well. Obviously, the one or two favorites from the first one. We're playing half an hour, so we don't have all the time we would like to have to play everything, of course. But yeah, we're trying to keep the balance there. But the focus definitely still is on Queen of Broken Dreams now.
Do you have any ideas or sort of I mean, plans or anything to try and almost go backwards and give it a bit more showcase over the next year or so?
Not actually anything planned out. There are a few things forming where we're trying to see what we can do, and yeah, maybe it would be a nice idea to give that one a little more space again, but we haven't anything planned that's directly yet. No.
No, that's fair enough. I understand. It's a frustrating. It's been a frustrating couple of years when it comes to obviously music and the industry throughout the COVID period. Do you guys feel as though you coped as well as you possibly could?
Well, there wasn't much we could do, wasn't it? So no, I mean, there's been so many bands which had had problems during the whole time, and I guess we did the best we could with our album coming out. We could have waited until there might have been a better chance, but then we would have been going on for how many years without releasing anything, and we didn't want that either. So we did the best we could. We brought out the second album, filmed a couple of music videos, and yeah, that's all we could do basically.
Made the best of a bad situation.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's been a few weeks since the release of Queen of Broken Dreams. How have you found the overall reaction to it? Not just necessarily critical reviews and stuff, but more your fan base, your comments, your, the interaction online.
No, I have to think for a moment. No, it's generally been very positive. The people are quite enjoying the variety of the songs, which we didn't actually realize that it was so different songs on them, but because you've been working on them for so long that you kind of lose the objective picture, and so then people are, yeah, I really like that. This song is a bit loud and this one is quieter, and you've got like more storytelling songs, and you've got a bit more metal ones on them as well now, and so that's been really nice to read and to hear that people are quite enjoying the variety, and that it's not just like one big sausage of the same old stuff, and that's been really good to hear.
Almost hearing those opinions and those thoughts gives it a refresh for you.
Sorry again, please.
Hearing those opinions and thoughts and those the divide and what people are feeling on certain tracks, that kind of refreshed it for you.
Oh yes, definitely. It's always nice to get to hear kind of get to hear the songs through new set of ears and pair of eyes, and because as I just mentioned, you've been working on them for so long, and you've been hearing them over and over again during recording and mixing and the whole production, which doesn't mean that you don't like them anymore, but you just you get to hear them in a new way and from a new perspective, and that's always really nice. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, take me back to the early days of its inception. Did you have a clear vision of what you wanted to do with this album?
Not really. No, it was we were collecting songs which we really liked, and because we like to work with lots of songwriters, not just within our band, but from our circle of friends and people we know, and so we were just asking around, seeing who wanted to hand in some songs and see what we liked, and it was just more what felt good. And then the whole topic with the Queen of Broken Dreams kind of grew out of that, due to the fact that many of the lyrics which Scarlett wrote kind of had this topic of dreaming and goals which you try to achieve, and then some goals can work and some don't, and then the struggle which we have when we try to achieve something but maybe fail doing so, and all those feelings having to do with that. And that was kind of where we realized, there's a kind of similar topic in some of these songs which we can kind of take up as a theme, but it wasn't that we actually planned anything like that. It wasn't like a concept album of sorts.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand that. Almost when you say dreamlike, that almost makes it hard to imagine something quite tangible to grip onto. Were there events and situations that kind of changed your path as you were working your way along, for the better or worse?
Good question. To be honest, I couldn't really tell you. It didn't really have any points where we realized that something went completely different as originally planned. We just went with it how it came.
Yeah.
And so it didn't really turn out. Well, maybe what did was a bit different than usual is that our guitarist Bengt and I, we both also work in the audio industry, and so what changed this time is that we did a lot more of the record ourselves, meaning that I did a lot of the pre-production, the arrangements and sound design, and then we did all the recordings as usual, and the mixing also was then done by Bengt. So not by our producer team, Chris Harms and Benny Lafrance, who did the first 2 records.
Yeah.
We did a bit more ourselves this time, which wasn't necessarily planned in the beginning. It just kind of felt natural, and we talked about it openly with our 2 guys, and they were like, yeah, why not? Sure, let's do that way. And so I guess that one could say that was a turn of events, but that was really nice to just give it a different perspective, because we were more involved ourselves, also from the more technical side of things.
That's always an interesting balance, isn't it? Because of course, I mean, it makes complete sense if that's what you do, that is something that you'd naturally be good at. But often artists tend to not want to do that because, of course, you're too close to the product. So
yes,
an outside view is good. That balance, was that did that ever concern you, or were you just confident that you would be able to meet your own expectations almost?
yeah, it's definitely always a risk, because as you said, you can lose perspective, and I can imagine that for many bands, when they try to do it themselves, especially if they're maybe more on the hobby side of audio, it can be a real problem. And to be honest, I wouldn't want to have done the whole production of the album completely myself. So I'm very happy that, like Bengt, for example, did the mixing, and then Benjamin Lafrance did the mastering. So that was at least something where we could split it up. Something which I always really notice is that when you've been working on the pre-production and then with the recording, you hear the mixes the first time, and obviously the perspective is different. The drums are maybe louder or quieter, whatever, or different parts of the songs are featured differently, and then obviously because we're so used to the demo, it feels wrong at first. And so Bengt and I had a bit of a few well, not discussions, but just a few funny moments where we were like, no, this feels wrong, this can't be, and then no, believe me, it's going to be good, it's just you're too we call it demoitis, so you're too deep into the demo, and you just got to give it a couple of days, and then it's going to be fine again. You just got to get used to it being different, and that's how it turned out. It was all good.
So you're able to always solve those just by talking out and letting it sit for a while if need be.
Yes.
What were some of the more challenging aspects then of working on this album? And if you did have any, how did you overcome them?
I guess what was a bit of a struggle this time was the time schedule, because due to the COVID restrictions, traveling still wasn't too easy, and we as a band were mainly living around Hamburg in Germany, but we're kind of still a little split. So our singer Scarlett, she lives in South Germany, and our drummer, he's pretty much on the border to Denmark. Yep. And so that was kind of like, okay, how can we get everyone into the studio for the right times to record the album? I guess that was a bit of a hassle, having to figure that out. Luckily, we didn't have any really bad problems or anything which could have potentially risked anything in the side of the production. So that all went actually rather smooth. So yeah, no kind of think of anything which really would have been a problem.
I mean, that's great to hear. It's almost like there's an expectation that you must have something, but the fact that you don't is even brilliantly. You want a smooth ride as much as possible during a always stressful period of time.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's maybe the luck of knowing the production side and the audio side is that you kind of have a good idea where you need more time, where you don't, and then you can kind of plan from there beforehand to avoid having stressful periods where it's kind of like, yeah, the deadline is yesterday, we need to get things done now. So we luckily could avoid that as much as possible.
Well, on the flip side of that, on the more positive thing there, what were any positive surprises that maybe popped up? Moments potentially where you surpassed your own personal expectations, or discovered something about Scarlet Dorn that's maybe become intrinsically part of your makeup now?
Well, what really was nice is that because I recorded the vocals with Scarlett, which also the last two albums Chris Harms did. So that was nice to have a bit more kind of band internal setup, and also it was really good to dive deep into those more intimate moments. And we've got like one song on the album which is called "What Are We to Do," which is very storytelling driven song, very quiet, and to get into the mood there. And it was, you know, when you really dive deep into those feelings, try to capture that in the vocal performance, and you get this really magic atmosphere. And then someone comes into the studio just to ask something like, "Where's a screwdriver?" or something, I don't know. and they realize immediately how they're popping into something really intimate at the moment, and just leave immediately because they notice kind of, okay, there's some magic happening here right now, I don't want to disturb that. Yeah, we had that on a couple of songs, like "Love Was Made For Me," and "The Meteor" is another song on the album which was really magical in the recording process and absolutely amazing. And I may be biased, but I do find that we can hear it in her vocal, in Scarlett's voice, that it's just really personal and intimate. And yeah, that was really good, really nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic that even now you're able to look back and remember the vibes almost, that you said you felt that atmosphere in the room.
Yes, and I believe that's I mean, that's why we're doing it, isn't it? Because it's the magic in music. And especially if you can get this atmosphere, this vibe going on from the start to the end, it's my opinion that you will hear that in the final product as well. Because if it's more like a task and like work duty, having to record the things, and you just go on it as a business perspective kind of thing, I can imagine that it'll be quite audible in the final product, especially in the vocals, which I would say are most personal because it's kind of most similar to the voice, to like speaking. So it's really worth it putting in the effort to get it really magical. It sounds corny as hell, but you know what you know what I mean.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It makes complete. It's a positive thing. It'd be more dry if you were responding with, "Oh, you know, it was just going really nicely, and the music sounded great."
Yes.
Do you think you've had a lot of personal growth over this album cycle, this period of working on it, from both the day job, the musical industry side of things, but also what you've been doing in Scarlet Dawn?
Let me have a think. Well, we've definitely grown in just finding out what we want, which I guess is always a good thing. Yeah, I mean, you just grow together as people, sharing so many moments and so long evenings. Like, for example, when Bengt and I recorded the bass and the guitar parts, we'd have sessions until late night. I mean, we would finish recording maybe at 10 in the evening or something, but we'll stay at the studio until 3 o'clock and just have a chat and a beer. And you just really get into like nice personal topics, and you get to know each other even better and even more when working on something like that, where you're so emotionally invested. And yeah, it connects you even more as a whole, because the last two albums were recorded a bit more separately, I would say.
Yeah.
And now having more, or as I said, since Bengt and I did the recording most of the time, it's all within the band. And so you're not, the singer's going there, and then the guitar player's going there, and the drummer's going there, and you've got all these separate sessions. But even though it was separate dates, you still had it all within the band, kind of, and that really grew us together even more. Musically, I wouldn't know exactly where to say where we've grown. I guess that'll show when we do the next album what we figured out this time.
Yes. Do you feel satisfied though where Scarlet Dawn is now in 2022 when compared to the early days of 2016?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, definitely we're happy, of course, definitely. We're really thankful and grateful for what we've been able to do over the last years. Obviously, the COVID period was difficult because it killed off all of our shows, literally. And 2019, we had just really, really good, amazing things happening. We were on the Meora Luna Festival in Germany. We had 2 support shows for Within Temptation, which was absolutely mind-blowing and incredible. And being able to get this drive going back now with the tour now, and being able to start again, kind of going on the road, playing shows, that's really, really good. And so we're really happy where that is going. We've got the album out now. We've got lots of motivation to do lots of shows with it and being able to play shows again. So yeah, we're really, really happy and looking forward to do more of that.
It is incredible when you think about it, because it is just 6 years, an incredibly short amount of time, as you said yourself, particularly when you throw in the COVID period, which wipes out a segment of that. Has your success sunk in? Even hearing your voice there when you speak about some of the things you've done, there's almost a sense of awe in it.
Yes, well, I mean, it's not every day you get to do those things, and obviously being, as you said, we've been lucky in what we've been able to do in these years as a rather new band, and being able to tour with so many amazing artists, not just, of course, just with Temptation, Lord of Lost, and Letzte Instanz, Joachim Witt, which are German artists, if you don't know, and just so many really, really, really grateful moments we've been able to have. It's really amazing, and it's a privilege.
We look forward to the next 6 and beyond.
Definitely.
It's always about the future, isn't it?
Well, hopefully. I guess it's more productive looking forward than backward.
It is, because ultimately as well, music industry moves on so quickly. It surprised me, because we had this interview scheduled in for, I think, last week originally, and I checked the date of the album release, and I was like, oh my goodness me, Queen of Broken Dreams is already a month old, a little over a month now, and that feels like a lifetime already.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we were so excited looking forward to the release, and you get worked up with all the adrenaline and everything, and you're really excited. Then the album is out, and then you're just so excited with it, and then the time just flies.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's already been over a month now. Yeah.
But of course, that doesn't mean anything really, because it's always about building and pushing it as much as possible. Do you have any big plan? You're already on tour, so that's kind of the big plan right now. But for the rest of this year and into 2023 that you can talk about, any potential things that are coming?
2023, not anything I can talk about.
Unexpected answer.
No. Well, yes, we do got one thing which we can talk about. We've got the Amphi Festival, which is in sometime autumn next year. Unfortunately, don't have the date of my head right now. But that's one festival which we've already we had to postpone that because of COVID a couple of times, and so we're really looking forward to be able to play that, which will be our first time on that festival, which would be absolutely fantastic. We haven't got anything going on this year anymore, and then next year there are a few things which may or may not happen, but the future will tell.
It is the most expectant question I ask when I throw that out, because I know how this goes, and but I'm always interested, because it means things potentially are still happening, particularly as we go into 2023 and the reset of, well, festival season, really, because the last couple of years we've been living in the COVID times where festivals have been like fully booked up, so it feels like next year there's a lot more opportunities available.
Yes, well, so we hope. And I guess what I can say is that we're doing all we can to get things going.
And that's all that matters. It's the most important thing of all. And lastly, last question for you. What do you feel you guys, Scarlet Dorn in general, need to do then, really, to expand upon the incredible success? Because, you know, the latter part of 2022, the album release, this massive tour, you could say it shouldn't get better than this, but we want it to get better than this. So what do you think you need to do going forward?
Well, we've got the really amazing chance and opportunity of playing in new countries now on this tour, and I guess this is such an amazing chance, and I'm not sure if we can make it happen. I'll have to see, but being able to play a known tour, a headline tour, maybe even into other countries, maybe just through Germany, we'll have to see. But I guess something like that would be really, really amazing. And yeah, let's see what happens.
There's nothing impossible about that. In fact, based off Queen of Broken Dreams and the reaction that I've seen online, it feels very, 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 well, completely possible.
Yes, the reactions are amazing. It's yeah, we'll have to see.
Yes, we keep coming back, and we shall see. Just stay attached to your socials, your websites, and we'll see what the future holds. Benjamin, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Carl. It was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?